I think the benefit for me of kind of having you there has been working with you whilst the album's still going on, which is kind of unusual for a mastering engineer anyway. Whereas I've been kind of coming in and playing you stuff from like demos through to nearly finished things, which go from kind of all her, musical interests, the jazz influence to the dance.
Motown and soul on there.
Yeah, you've got to try and make all of that sit on an album seamlessly.
Working with the same person over a longer period means you get to know that person's sound and what they're going to bring to you, which helps you kind of plan in advance what you're going to do. And I don't think we've done very much, but with some other engineers, there's the feedback bit as well, where I'm like, the last 4 or 5 songs, I've been pulling out a lot of 40 hertz. Do you want to pull that out at your end?
Yeah.
And that always helps, because then obviously I receive better mixes.
Yes.
It means I have to do less, which is even better. Known about these songs and known that it's going to have this range, but also known what the role is of each song in the running order. And so I'm able to go, this song here is going to go after this song here. That flow's going to work. Where I've got a problem is maybe going from a more soul-y one to a more dancey one, but knowing that that's going to happen, not having to kind of second guess it and just be like, I'm doing the soul one right now, but I know it's going to be followed by this. So I know what I'm going to have to do to make that transition work. And expectations there. That's kind of a handy thing to have, rather than kind of having your first listen through on the day you're mastering it and go, oh, you're going to do that to me, are you?
Yeah, so you can kind of almost, you're aware of what's going to happen. You can be kind of prepared for it and have thoughts in place about how you're going to handle it, I suppose.
I mean, in this instance, part of the thing for me is the mixes just sound really great. That always makes the job easy, right?
Yes.
Like, if the mixes sound great, my job is just to make sure that they sound consistent, rather than having to go in and tweak and change to try and make them sound great.
Yeah.
It's just, they sound great, let's keep it like that. Let's not ruin that, and let's make it flow from this song into this song. And the listener will just be like, yeah, nothing's happened. It's just another song now, and it sounds, it's all part of one big record.
We've been pushing it all the way up to the deadline. I mean, God, I think the first original deadline was probably back in December, and then it's slowly inched forward and forward and forward.
Always, as they do.
Yeah, as they do. But I think because of that, and because of the sheer scale of stuff that we had to kind of get over the line, also having direct lines between you, me, and Tony Maserati, who mixed at least half the record, I think, if not a bit more, has been invaluable. And just he's great at kind of going back and forth with. And
been providing us with new files just at the quick phone call. And
oh God, yeah, probably. I'm definitely phoned him a couple of times when I probably shouldn't have done. He's just been fantastic.
As I say, the mixes were exceptional right from the off.
And he's put a lot of work on those mixes as well. I kind of, saw behind the curtain, and a lot of them were starting at places where he really had to kind of build them from the ground up, and there was a lot of back and forth between everyone, especially with the new single that's just about to come out, Nine Girl Lane, which we've just done 2 versions for a vinyl.
The version that's on the album, which is the main release, and then the Abbey Road live version. Really stunning kind of reinterpretation of the track with a big orchestra, and that really pulls at you, that one. It's kind of special.
You get the goosebumps.
Yeah, definitely. It's magical. It really is.
We had a real fun couple of days at Abbey Road doing tracking, not just for the record, but also doing the special versions. The way we kind of approached it as well is we wanted to have a modern setup with all the kind of modern practical miking. So, all the close miking and stuff you'd expect of big orchestral sessions, and, all the vast like Atmos arrays and, different room looks. But then we also did a very kind of old school approach, and we had one set of mics which was going through their red console, J37. And they found this, they dug out this tape, which was from kind of the 1950s, and we tracked. It was a pair of RCAs, just the room sound. Then there was one overhead mic by the conductor. The vocal is the one actually that we used on the record and for the Abbey Road version, which has elements of that, and all done through the tape.
How many channels are on that? Because there can't be many channels on that red console.
Off the top of my head, it was less than 8, I think.
Yeah, I would have thought.
It wasn't a lot, so it was really, you had to be really selective. That's the great thing about this kind of record tonally as well. She's obsessed with her jazz and a lot of kind of, you know, 40s, 50s and 60s sonics. You got to do your research. You know, emailing people. I found this guy from a studio in Paris because there was a track there that she really loved the aesthetic from, like just the sonics. How do we kind of get that sonic? And I tracked down this guy who worked at the studio in the early 1970s, this French guy called Pierre. And we had a back and forth for quite a while, and I got some great details on like mics and placement and the preamps and all the equipment they used. And there's that kind of level of detail. And you'll get on this record as well, there'll be moments on there where you're just listening to those elements, which none of the equipment is post 1960. Then it combines with all the modern production, and you know, it's just this kind of vast sonic that brings it right into like today.
It's such a modern sounding record, but it, at the same time, I could happily imagine it being released back in the 60s. You'd be like, yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It should come out now. You'd be like, it's just a really forward thinking 60s record. It's such a characterful, interesting record. It's got so much colour to it, so many vibes.
There's a lot of decisions in there which I think, you know, in traditional artist label setups, you'd be told by someone along the way, like, no, this isn't how you do it.
She's taken everything she loves and just put it down.
Yeah.
And kind of, with that, there's a huge risk that no one else loves what you love. But I think actually there isn't. I think actually that's the zero risk option, because if you just are completely honest, people will love that.
Yes. That's the beauty of it, isn't it? It is a completely honest and open record. It's her.
Those are the records that stand the test of time. You know, you can make a safe record, but no one will care in a year's time. They'll stream it for 6 months and then give up. But a real record, people will listen for decades.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And I think the timing, coincidentally as well, of the record as well, just feels particularly apt as well. We were doing some of the early writing sessions, and she was really trying to search for what should be the theme. What is this album going to be? You know, she'd written My 21st Century Blues, which was very much like a reaction to all the pain and, you know, rejection she'd had from the industry, from people in her life, and kind of dealing with that. And now with this record and the title, you know, this album may contain hope, and we'd already seen quite a few looks off of it. I Know You're Hurting, Husband. The theme just feels like she's hitting a kind of a moment where people are looking for that bit of hope, dare I say it, but also the vision of it, and with all the, you know, the musicianship on it as well, like people reconnecting to real musicians playing.
Yeah. And there are hundreds of musicians on this record.
Yeah, literally.
That is one of the beautiful things. It's such a real record with, you know, orchestras and strings and brass and real drums and all of that stuff. It's a beautiful record.
The way she's gone about making it, for me, just speaks volumes to her character as well, because I know she did some sessions with some pretty big name producers when she was trying to, you know, kind of discover new sounds and like do some writing for the record early days. And quite frankly, at that point, you know, having come off the back of the first record, you know, all the Brits, you know, all that stuff, she probably could have had her pick of the top producers in the world to work with. But I think the beautiful thing is that she very early on made the decision, and the way it's kind of worked out, to work with people that she loves and trusts. And, you know, I mean, Mike Sabbath's back from the first record, a great kind of person on a lot of these songs as well. And just in general, he's great to have around. He's a great fun, you know, from Chris Hill, Tom Richards, Tone World, and Jordan Riley, and Pete, her MD, Pete Clements, like, between all those people that she's known and worked with on and off for years, like, it's just been a really nice experience.
There's an interesting angle there, which is, you know, you mentioned that she had the opportunity to work with all these different people, and she'd been working with various producers to me, it feels like one of the turning point moments was the Albert Hall show.
Oh yeah.
That is obviously 21st Century Blues as of the songs,
Yes.
but it's so much closer to this new record sonically with all of the orchestral arrangements and parts.
Oh, I think that show was life-changing. And I think that will go down probably as one of, if not the great live shows of its generation, but one of the most important moments, if not the most important moment of her career. I know she funded all herself and cost, I think it was, she said this, like a year's, in real terms, like a year's wages. And at that point in her career as well, where she'd obviously had some traction, but wasn't by any means like a household name. That was a real gamble to kind of go, right, we're going to do this, you know, an orchestral version of this pop record, and just go all in off the back end of that, and the stunning reviews and just how it was received. And then again, that just set the tone. That's where I think that was the first time she met Tom Richards as well. That really set the tone for the next record and what she wanted to do and the artist she wants to be. So I mean, it's just, yeah, like life-changing. Yeah. I was very lucky to be sat in the seat for that night. So
Gutted I wasn't there.
yeah. Next one.
Yeah.